Here we go.
All right, we are back and we're live again. We're bringing these shows to you live each and every week, trying to give you guys that winning edge and get these games as they're in progress. We've got a lot on tap going this week. Boy, is there a lot going on with these conference tournament games, followed by next week, March Madness. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm joined by my two co-hosts. They're beside me each and every week. We're going to kick it over to my main man, the CEO of TK Wins, Tommy King. What's up, T?
Yeah, man, we're ready. These games are flowing live as we are today as well. We got games going on right now for the March Madness. It's great to be here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Think about it. We're here. The games are kicking. The games are being played as we're talking right now, but we're going to have some selections for you later on today between the NBA and college basketball. But here's my other co-host, the man that makes me get all jacked up each and every week, the CEO of the Sports Profits, Teddy Brooks, in-house.
What's happening, guys? We are live on YouTube. I just went live on Instagram and
How do you like the live?
on Instagram.
You like
I
it?
don't really do it. We're gonna all start doing it soon. Me and
We were gonna
TK.
do it last week.
You wouldn't believe what happened. My gate broke last week, and I have a tortoise in my backyard, so I had to rush home
Oh, boy.
and fix the gate so that the tortoise couldn't escape. But we're gonna start going live a couple nights a week now. But we're doing the live on YouTube once a week. Very excited for this week. Huge week. Huge week.
I mean, listen, we're trying to give you guys the edge. These lines sometimes don't come out in timely fashion, but when you're live, you have access to everything in front of you for that day. And we're going to be looking at some stuff, obviously a little bit later on in the show. We're going to break down some college basketball, as I said. I got a couple of things going on in the NBA as well. And, we got a lot of stuff here. Let me ask you, what's the deal with these quarterbacks still with the NBA? Speaking of, the NFL, Aaron Rodgers still doesn't have a home. They're talking Pittsburgh. What's your thoughts on that? You think he's going to end up in Pittsburgh, or is he?
The way Pittsburgh's making these moves right now, you saw what they did this week with a few players.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of action going on there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went to the Steelers as a quarterback, but you never know.
Well, Sam Darnold found his spot. He got what did he get? What did he get? A 2-year deal, Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I think 2 years, 60.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
2 years,
but
60?
He got guaranteed a lot of money. Good for him. He deserves it. He's been, around the carousel of quarterbacks moving and grooving. And also, I believe, who else? There was another side. Justin Fields goes to the Jets.
Justin Fields to the Jets, DK Metcalf to the Steelers. A lot of big movement this week. Trades and more pickups than trades. But, yeah, a lot of big movement this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Think about it. The NFL ends after the Super Bowl, but it really doesn't end. It's always in the spotlight with all this stuff going on. The players moving, a lot of big signings in the offseason. So, it just keeps the juices flowing of the NFL. They haven't even come to the draft, which is not for another month. They're talking about these young quarterbacks not really having much value, it seems like, with Sanders and Cam Ward. What do you take on that with these quarterbacks?
They're calling it one of the worst quarterback draft classes ever. And what that's doing is it's elevating quarterbacks that probably aren't going to be that great up to levels, where they're going to be drafting quarterbacks that are not going to ever start a game in the NFL this year. It's going to be a weird draft.
You think the number one pick is going to be a quarterback this year, or are they going to go in another direction?
You never know. You never know.
They were talking Cam Ward being the number one pick out of Miami.
That's the issue. Even the two best quarterbacks in this draft, Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders, I'm not 100% confident that they're going to have great NFL careers.
Yeah, I don't think they'll have good NFL careers. I'm not a big fan of him when he was playing at Colorado. So
yeah.
No? You don't. What? Why was?
I just don't think he's a great quarterback. He's more of a mobile running quarterback than he is a passing quarterback. If you watch him at Colorado,
and you know what happens there when they start running young guys in the NFL, they get beat up and they're on the bench more so than on the field.
Yep.
These guys.
Now, I will say people have said the same thing about other quarterbacks who are very good now, like Lamar Jackson, but he always showed, in my opinion, arm skill
Yep.
that some of these guys aren't showing.
Yeah, well, you got to be a two-way player. I mean, if you're going to run and you're going to take the chances of running in the NFL as a young quarterback, Johnny Manziel found that out real fast. The speed of the guys in the NFL is a lot faster than in college
Well,
football.
I think he had other problems. I don't know if you watched
Well,
any documentaries.
Yeah, I watched that
on him.
documentary. It was pretty good.
It's
on
a
it.
great documentary, but he had other issues. I
Well,
think he could have
of
been
course.
good.
You think he could have been
I think
good?
his style could have worked if he didn't party and drink and do, snort half of Peru.
Yeah, right. He was a party boy.
He was
Oh,
down
yeah.
in Miami a lot, man. Back
was
in
it-
the day, he was down here a lot.
Yeah, he had the room. He would get the room in Fountain Blue, and he would meet with the autograph guy. He would sign a few thousand autographs, and then get paid and go to live and party.
You know, it'd be a good hook. I mean, think about the Steelers getting DK Metcalf, which is tremendous. He's a top
He's a
talent.
beast.
Yeah. Now, if they sign Aaron Rodgers, that's going to make them interesting because they got the defense.
Or did they get DK Metcalf to reunite Wilson and Metcalf because they used to play together? Wilson used to throw to him.
Yeah, I don't know. They keep talking about Russell Wilson not coming back. I
don't see a future with him.
Yeah, I mean, he started a house of fire. He was 6-1, and then he went 0-5 on his last. So what it was, he was 6-6 as a starting quarterback, which is not going to cut it and steal a
Especially,
nation.
I was going to say, it's not going to cut it in the NFL, but especially under Tomlin.
Whatever happened to
was not-
Ben Roethlisberger? I know he's old and he's not playing, but whatever happened, you never hear anything about him anymore. He doesn't do
No.
announcing or nothing.
He does podcasts. I think
He does podcasts?
Yeah,
I was actually watching an interview with Antonio Brown. Say what you
Sure.
will about him,
Right.
his brain, but he was saying that
talk
Big,
about a talent going
Big
to waste.
Ben
huh?
was the his favorite quarterback to play for, and he played for some good quarterback. I mean, he played for Brady. He played with some good quarterbacks. So.
Well, Big Ben in his day was a beast. You couldn't bring that guy down. He was a tank. I mean, not only did he have a good solid arm,
He was mobile.
and he was mobile. But I mean, the guy was like 260 pounds and
It's like that guy that played for Kentucky. What was his name? That big ass quarterback back in the day.
Couch.
No, not Couch. I can't remember his name. I'd have to look up. He was a monster. They couldn't even tackle him. He was like 280.
Yeah,
I
well,
remember his name.
it was just like the guy from LSU, the number one pick that went to the Raiders. It was a total bust out. Remember Russell, Jamarcus? what was it?
Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell.
Mm-hmm.
What a bust out he was. Unbelievable. And he had so much talent. He was what was he? Tall. He was about 6'4", 6'5", 260 pounds. A tank, but I don't know. I guess when these guys, you know how it goes. Ryan Leaf too, another talent in college, but when he came to the NFL, these guys, sometimes fall apart. The pressure gets to them.
I read an
The
interest.
lifestyle, whatever, they get caught up in these, lifestyle things too.
Jared Lorenz. That's who it was, that big boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He was a
yeah.
monster,
Wasn't
man.
he a lefty?
I can't remember, but I remember he
Yeah, but he
could tackle 3-4 guys to take him down.
didn't come in highly touted, did he?
No, but he was still a big
No,
running
he was a
quarterback.
big boy. Yeah, I think Roethlisberger was probably one of the best big guys.
I read an interesting article about genetics as far as like they did some studies with quarterbacks and stuff, and basically saying that there's certain genes that certain quarterbacks have. It's more psychological
Right.
but there's certain hormones that our bodies release under stress. And what they're saying is the athletes, not just QBs, but any athlete, the greats, the Jordans, the athletes that perform under that pressure.
Right.
There's a special gene that basically suppresses the hormones that create nervousness and create nerves and indecisiveness. And these people, whether it be Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, they have that gene, or they have more of that gene or that hormone
Yep.
that suppresses those nerves. So it could just be a genetic thing. Like some people can't
you
handle
can-
it,
right.
and some can.
You think
Right.
the quarterbacks were better back in the day or now? I mean, you had the Jim Kellys, you had the Dan Marinos,
That's a tough one.
the John Elway.
I would say I'm going to go out on a limb here.
They're
probably
built
gonna get-
bigger now, stronger.
I would say
faster.
back in the day, they
depended on their arm,
they
right?
depended on themselves. So nowadays, the league just protects them so much. The league protects the wide receivers so much. Lets wide receivers go across the middle. Back in the day, if you were going across the middle as a wide receiver, you were getting your head cleared out. Nowadays, if you're going across the middle and you get your head cleared out, the other player is going to get ejected from the game. So I think back then, it was a completely different game. So I'd have to give the edge back in the day.
All right, cool. I want to talk a little NBA if you guys are open-minded for that, because we got some key injuries that happened recently. The Lakers were rolling like crazy. with LeBron and Luka. And all of a sudden now LeBron's going to be out of the lineup. They're saying 1 to 2 weeks.
They lost
with the
without
groin.
him.
They lost the last 2 games. They've lost to Boston, and they lost to Brooklyn. And J.J. Redick was not happy with that performance. If you saw his comments, it's just amazing how you take one guy out of the lineup like that, a key piece, and the team all of a sudden, just loses its gel after winning all those games. They were playing outstanding, and now lost a couple of games in a row. And we'll see what happens there. I mean, he might be out as much as 2 weeks, they're saying, LeBron. I know you're not the big fan of Mr. LeBron James there, but...
No, I mean, listen, here's the way I look at it. You have 5 players. Of course, you take out one of your main 5 players, that's 20%. Right. But when you're talking about a LeBron or a Luka, it's more like 40%. Their production is probably 60% compared to the rest of the team. So if you take out one of them, that's a 30% production decrease, and it just can't be replaced.
Well, you look what's happening with Dallas. So you got no Kyrie, you got Anthony Davis out, you got a lot of injuries there, so their wheels have been falling off. Yeah, the NBA, like you said, it's so hard because with these injuries that seem to happen, occur so much. It really changes up your style, especially when you're betting on the games, because the numbers are always going to be adjusted on these games, and makes it really difficult. That's what makes our job so challenging on a daily basis,
Yeah, well, LeBron got into it with Stephen, the announcer the other day, Stephen Smith, and we got on
Stephen.
Stephen Smith. Yeah, I don't really watch him because I don't care for him, but...
Did you hear Stephen A. Smith's response? Oh, boy, it was pretty...
no, what did he say? Let's hear it.
He started saying LeBron. I can't really get into it because there was a lot of curse words.
Okay.
But, yeah.
He
came down on Stephen A. big time, ripped his ass wide open.
But why?
About his son. Leave my son alone. Leave my effing son alone. Leave my effing son alone. You want to talk about me? Leave my effing. He kept saying it all.
But his son, when you become an NBA player, you put yourself out there.
Yeah, you're open game, right?
I don't think that type of coddling of his son's going to do his son any good. He's got to get used to the criticism.
Well, I guess Stephen A. was trying to say, his son shouldn't be on the team, really. You know what I mean? He's taking a spot away from someone that maybe deserves it more. So he's sitting on the bench. He's not really doing anything, contributing, because he's LeBron's son. Obviously, he's there. So,
Where's Kevin Durant going? Any ideas on that one? They're going to trade him, or...
Kevin Durant, I think I think he's looking to make a move, but I would think Kevin Durant. There's 2 things I think he may go. He may go back to New York with the Knicks, not Brooklyn, or he may go back to OKC. He may that could be a great fit for him. I mean, you got that young talent with a guy like Durant in there. Wow, can you imagine if he went to OKC? Yeah.
They're good enough already as it is, too.
Oh, yeah.
They add him, and he never won with OKC, so that would be kind of cool to see that full circle come back, and he wins with OKC.
I mean, look at Cleveland. They come back. I think they won last night. Cleveland come back and win another one last night. They were down by double digits.
Cleveland has had 3 winning streaks this year of double digits. 16 games they're on currently, right? They won 16 in a row right now. They won 15 in a row to start the season. I think they had 12 in a row. That's amazing. Think about it. In 1 year, 3 double-digit winning streaks. This team's 55-10. I mean, they're just quietly dominating the Eastern Conference. As good as Boston is, and I think they're going to show up in the playoffs. Again, regular season doesn't mean a lot. Yeah, it means, obviously it means something, but it doesn't mean a lot once you step up to that second season, which is the NBA playoffs, because we all know the intensity levels are going to go absolutely through the roof, and now you're going to see who's real at the end of the day.
That's why I only bet the playoffs when it comes to the NBA, because they're all coming to play every day, every game. Every game matters.
It's a whole different animal. I mean, you could have the best record in the NBA throughout the season. We've seen it in hockey. We talked about a few times. Number 1 seed in hockey seems to not find a way to win.
The curse of the President's Cup.
Right. So the same with the, basically with the NBA. But Cleveland, I'll tell you, 65 games in, 55-10, they're dominating the NBA. I think they're the number 1 team in the NBA. I mean, obviously they got the best record, but consistency-wise and throughout the entire season, I think they've dominated over anyone, even as well as OKC's played.
Yeah, Cleveland's simply the strongest team out there in the NBA. But NBA, you watch NBA. I think almost every team makes the playoffs in the NBA, don't they? Only 2-3 teams get left
20,
out.
I think 20 out of 30.
You got these first round games. I mean, they should just cut out some of these teams because they're all blowouts anyways.
And it ruins the regular season also. I think that the more teams that make the playoffs, the less the regular season matters. So But I mean, hockey's pretty similar. Hockey gets what, 16 out of 30?
No, more than I think they get more than that. Is it 16?
I think it's 8 and 8. Yeah,
Yeah,
8 and
okay.
8.
The Bruins come back last night.
Yeah, how
Take
about
out
it?
the Panthers last night.
Little,
2-1 underdogs.
Little payback there, or what?
Payback for taking Marchand from them.
I don't know.
How about that? How I can't believe the Panthers got him from Boston, Brad Marchand. I mean, it's a pretty big piece.
Yeah, he's experienced. I mean, he can help them with certain things. I mean, he's on the tail end of his career, obviously.
Yeah,
but
he's 36,
at the end of the day,
35,
the guy's an
36.
experienced, and he's a Stanley Cup champion as well.
He
so he
is.
could definitely help us. These Panthers got a lot of young players, and they got a lot of talent. So that's definitely a good fit for them as far as education-wise to bring a guy like Marchand in.
Yeah, they were up 2-0
Marchand.
last night, and the other team, Boston, goes on a 3-0
Yeah,
run.
I
and
saw that. What happened in the
They
third
just
period?
folded, man. They just folded, and
Really? It's unbelievable. The NHL right now is going to, it's exciting times. But I want to get into this. Obviously, everyone wants to know about what's going on. I know you guys got to be absolutely jacked up about March Madness. That's starting I believe, next Thursday, and it's going to be running for the next few weeks. And I know I'm ready for it. I'm sure you guys have put a lot of time into it. This week we have the conference game starting. They started yesterday. They're going to run all the way through the week to see which teams are going to get bids to get into the.
they're saying the SEC is going to be the most watched games in college basketball this week for the tournament
In
play.
history?
In history, they said tournament play. Everyone wants to see the SEC.
Well, I got some numbers for you, TK, some trends dating back in SEC tournaments. So, teams that have a line of 7 points or more favored are 32-8 straight up and 23-15 against the spread going back 10 years. And in the same type of game where one team is favored by 7 or more, the under has hit 28 out of 39 times. Now, here's the question, though. These SEC offenses this year, they're on another level. So I don't know if those unders are going to be as important. But another interesting thing, we have round 1 today. There's some teams on a bye that are going to be playing in the next round.
Right.
31-13 straight up and 26-18 against the
But
spread.
don't forget, you got to look for the adjustments on the point spreads. What they did in the regular season, I guarantee you those numbers will be quite different in the tournament.
No, I'm talking about teams getting a
just in
first round
general?
bye in the SEC tournament, going back last year, the year before that.
I heard last night a couple of the players were out at the bars last night in Nashville. I heard
This
a couple
guy
of
always
things
finds
out
out about the bar
there. Hey,
stories.
you got to find out the
He's
stuff,
got
man.
He's got plants in every bar in the
I was
country.
going to
This
say,
guy.
TK's got
He knows
bartenders everywhere.
Dude, I have a wild game
Are
yesterday,
they
man.
are they on payroll? Those bartenders?
They must be.
What do you mean? They're your people.
Well,
Listen,
can't give out the inside on
That's
that.
why you pay TK, because that's the information. He knows who's drinking,
He
who's
knows, right,
partying the night
exactly.
before, and who to bet against because of that.
Yeah, he's the man. He's our go-to guy.
You're talking about exciting games. Did you watch the Cal game yesterday? College basketball?
The Cal, who was FSU, Cal?
No.
California, the Bears.
Yeah, who'd they play?
I can't remember where they
Went
played
double
yesterday.
overtime.
That was a crazy game, man. They were minus 3.5, 4 points. Guy fouled them. They went at a view, misses one, makes one, goes into overtime, comes back the same way. Second one goes into double overtime. They come out, win the game, cover the spread. That was crazy. I had California, so I got lucky in that one yesterday.
That's college basketball for you. Let me ask you guys a question. How many times do you have a game where you give it to your clients and at halftime of the game, people are bitching, complaining, and then next thing you know,
for halftime. Come on, first quarter in the NBA, first quarter.
And then
Oh, you're down. We're down 6-0 already. This game just. I had that the other day. They were down 9-0.
2-0.
and then next thing you know, the game just I mean, I've seen so many games where a team's
turnarounds.
down 15 at the half and they end up winning the game by 8.
More than you can imagine this year. I've seen so many
That's what I'm
games,
saying.
double-digit half times, whether you were on them or again they were working with you or against you. And in the second half, it just seems like
I think there's
crazy.
one main reason why.
Why?
3 points. 3-point shots.
Oh, yeah.
If they're hot, they're hot. If they're not, they're not. That's how it's a game of runs
That's
more
the
than
NBA
ever.
now. The NBA is all 3-pointers now. No one goes inside him. Like we talked last week, you don't got no big Shaqs dunking the ball. I mean, it's crazy. Going back to your customers like that, I just jumped on social media this year. I let shit get to me, guys talk to me. I'm doing what you say now. I just block some of these idiots on there.
Yeah, they're good for engagement. You
You
give them
could go 13-0, and the guy, yeah, you suck ass.
You give them a couple chances, and if listen, here's my thing. I have guys that comment about the losses, but then when I have a win, they give me the props. I keep those guys. They don't get blocked.
It's funny that last week I had one
Yeah, I mean,
customer.
if the guy's steady with you, I mean, you're not going to block him.
Exactly.
Why? If the guy, gives you his opinions and he gives you a thumbs up when you win and he makes a little comment
Exactly.
when he loses, so be it. I mean, I like people like that, actually,
but you
because
got
they're
these-
telling it the way it is.
You get these guys that they don't even know what you're doing on your VIP or your private. I had a customer get in a fight with one of my guys on social media and told him to go to hell. He goes, don't be cheap and get the free plays. Why don't you spend the money and be a winner?
I have that.
And that's funny.
I have that. We have
All right, well-
good customers that defend us.
Well, listen, speaking of the plays, we got a big day of action today. Man, do we got a lot of games on tap between the NBA full board, college basketball running all day long as we speak. They're running. I want to get your opinions. I'm going to start with UT. Anything that hits the radar today in college
In
basketball?
college basketball, I was going to go to NBA first, but if you want me to go to college, I'll
Yeah,
go to
let's
college.
go to college.
I got to turn my page here.
Go ahead, turn the page.
Throwing me
Look
off
at all the
over.
homework there.
Yeah, man, these are all my numbers. You can see all the numbers. The guys say we're numbers guys. I can see. I got all my numbers right there.
All right, good for
You know,
you.
but
man.
I got one play going down, giving out tonight, and it's basically my free play online here tonight. Oklahoma, Georgia. I'm going to go with Georgia minus the points in there. Georgia's 5-0 their last 5 against the spread. They're 5-1 their last 6 against the spread versus an SEC opponent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to lay the 3.5 points with Georgia and get paid with them here tonight. Nice little SEC matchup this evening.
Yeah, they're coming into the game playing much better, obviously,
They've
than their
won
opponent.
and covered 5 straight.
Yeah, they're playing real well right now. They won 20 games this year. They're a solid team. I mean, 3.5 against Oklahoma started out a house of fire, and they cooled off in the second half, I believe.
How many teams in the SEC are actually ranked in the top 25? There's got to be a bunch.
Oh, I was in the top 25?
Top 25.
Oh, I thought there was like how many? 13 were going to get in the tournament?
I
or
think
12
they're
or
talking
13?
about the record is 13. I think they're saying that the SEC might get like 14 or 15 this year in the tournament. Top 25. I don't know the exact number right at
Right.
this moment. Probably 8 or 9, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you got Auburn, you got Alabama,
You got Florida, Georgia,
What, is Georgia?
Tennessee.
I don't
Not
think
Georgia. I'm
no.
sorry, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Geez, I think off the top.
Is A&M?
Texas A&M is no, they're not in this Southeastern Conference. They're in the Big 12.
Real quick, I'm on that same game, so I just wanted to let everyone know we got an agreement on a game here. Georgia allows 6 points less on defense than Oklahoma does, and
Are you in
Georgia's
trouble now?
He brought the goat out today. I'm
hey,
good.
guys, I've been
I got
hot.
the dog,
I
man.
don't
He's
know.
got the goat. We're good today.
I've
Well,
been
you
hot.
guys sometimes out of
I'm a
nowhere
little
agree.
upset with Scott here today. He didn't introduce his
Yeah,
like
my little mini me.
And I forgot mine.
I
Would
gotta
you
get
believe
mine
it?
made yet.
He's staying quiet until the NBA. He told me he's going to wait for me to talk NBA, then he was going to get a little excited. So I'm still waiting.
But yeah, guys,
Anything
I'm on that Georgia game also, so hop on it.
Okay. Anything else?
That's the only one I'm giving out. If they want the rest of the games, they're going to have to go to my website, the TKWins.com. That's the only way I'm
Really?
giving one top
Just
play.
one game
Just
today?
one game. I got an
TK.
NBA. I got
Wow.
an NBA
I'm
play.
noticing a trend here. You're getting stingy with these games,
Right?
man. You gotta
I'm not. Well,
give the
Nothing
people.
I'm
what
going to
they
give
want.
an NBA later on. I'm going to give out an NBA later on.
Okay.
I got some NASCAR
Hey.
this week too.
For
All right,
everyone
we'll worry
watching
about
this,
that.
for everyone watching this live, I'm going to throw something out there. This is a private play. This is going to my paying clients. But here's the thing: it starts in 2 hours, so you're only going to be able to put it in if you're watching this show live. I'm not going to give any analysis on it. Vanderbilt on the money line playing against Texas.
And next week's show, we're going to all three of us are going to fill out a bracket, throw in some money each.
You're
and whoever get
taking
the best
Vanderbilt?
rack.
I'm taking Vanderbilt on the money line.
You're not going to take the points? You're leaving the points behind? They're getting
Andy.
like 2.5.
No, they're favored by
They're
like
favored.
a point.
Are
point
they?
and a half.
Andy's
Oh,
favored in that
Vanderbilt
game.
was? Okay.
Yeah, favored by like a point and a half, 2 points.
You in for that next week?
I'm
little,
down.
Little bracket challenge between the three of us.
I'll fill my bracket out. We all bring a bracket here. We'll have Ben posted
Post it up
on
on
the
there.
screen. Well, I'll get it to Ben before the show. You could do that, Ben, right?
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it to you, Teddy. He only had one play. What's your best bet in college basketball
All right,
today?
so I'm looking at two
since
more.
we're live.
Yep, I'm looking at 2 more games. I agree with TK. I'm giving so much today. I agree with TK on Georgia. I gave everyone Vanderbilt. Now my 2 later games with a little bit of analysis. UTEP versus Liberty. Guys, Liberty does a great job of mitigating UTEP's most effective weapon, which is UTEP getting those turnovers. Liberty does not give up the turnovers. They ranked 50th in fewest turnovers per possession and 28th in points per possession away from home. So I'm going with Liberty. I think it's sitting at 7.5
7.5.
now. Yeah, so I would buy that thing to 6.5 or 7.
Yeah, they're a strong team. They've been very consistent. Liberty
Very.
playing real well and been dominating their recent games.
And they're number 1 in the nation in 3-point shooting defense, which is very important these days with all the 3-pointers. Now, that's a good play. Here's my best bet for the night, 7 p.m., Air Force versus UNLV. Guys, these conference tournament games are usually neutral site games.
Home game.
This game is being played at UNLV's home court, the Thomas and Mack Center.
Yep.
Air Force's offense has been terrible all year, ranked 350th in points per possession, 330th in points per possession allowed, so their defense isn't much better. And UNLV's 80th in opponent three-point shooting percentage.
Okay.
That's Air Force's strength is their threes. I'm going with UNLV here. It's a pretty big line. I think it's sitting at 11,
All right.
maybe 12 now, but I'm moving this thing to, let's see where it is right now.
And
Yeah,
now
it's
it's
at 12 and a
12 and a
half
half,
now.
yeah.
So yeah, I would get this thing to 11 and a half and lock that in.
All right, excellent. I got a couple plays I like today in college basketball. Actually, I'm jumping on Minnesota. Plus, I'm going to buy that line up to 4.5. They're playing Northwestern. I think this game on paper is about an even type of game. I think this is a perfect situation for the dog. I like Minnesota in this spot. Northwestern just beat them recently. I'm not worried about that situation. It's a whole different animal right now. This game today, a neutral site. I like Minnesota plus 4.5 against Northwestern. I like that play. That's the only play I'm actually putting out in college today, but I do have a couple of plays. Actually, there is another play I am putting out in the college today.
Bring it to us.
I'm going to take DePaul. I'm going to adjust that line up to plus 5.5. They're playing Georgetown. I think DePaul can stay in this game. Georgetown is a little bit of a stronger team, but DePaul's been coming on of recent. I think they're a live dog in this spot. I'll grab the 5.5 all day long. So those are the two key games I'm using. Again, these are just free plays, strong opinions that I'm putting out on these two games. Again, Minnesota plus 4.5 and DePaul plus 5.5 in college basketball. I want to go right. I want to kick right into the NBA. I mean, unless you guys got anything else in college.
All my college basketball is going to be rolling this weekend and next week for the tournament. So I'll get my numbers straightened out next week for that.
Well, the NBA's got some marquee matchups on this lovely Wednesday night. I guess they're trying to compete with the college basketball. I guess the scheduling, obviously, it just worked out to be that way. But you got some pretty amazing games tonight. Some of the best teams in the NBA going at it. The main game, I don't know if you guys are touching it. I am putting that out as a special play, which I'll talk about in just a minute, on the game between OKC and Boston. You guys have any opinion on that game at all?
Not on that game. I'm going to be using the Minnesota-Denver game. Did you watch that Clippers-New Orleans game last night? That was a wild, wild game last night.
No, I
That was a
didn't
great
catch it.
game last night. New Orleans had a big lead, gave it up, came back in the fourth quarter. And that was a great game last night. New Orleans is starting to play a little ball as well.
I mean, you see that it seems to happen so much lately, in the NBA where the team is like way up and they blow the leads and the other teams come, like you talked about earlier and whatever with the
Three-pointers.
college, the NBA too. There's no safe lead unless you're up 30, I guess, at halftime.
Which is interesting. Some of these sports books, they'll pay you out if your
Yeah, if
team
you're
gets
big
up by
lead.
a certain amount of points.
Right.
So you know why they do that probably, because they want chances are the game's going to win and they want
Right.
people betting that money back on something else.
Exactly. They figure they'll get the money to them early and then they'll bet a later game.
Yep.
Well, these younger bettors, they're always playing the props and the live betting anyways. I'm old school, just like Scott and everybody else on the panel. I go for the straight plays only. So
All right, let's talk about what you got in the NBA tonight, big boy.
I'm jumping on. I'm taking Minnesota tonight plus the 4 points against Denver. Minnesota 4-1 their last 5 against the spread. They're 5-2 their last 7 against the spread on the road against Denver. Minnesota's not playing bad ball right now. I'm going to take the 4 points. I think they should be favored in this game. They're getting 4. I'm going to take advantage of that number and jump on Minnesota plus the points there tonight.
Anything else?
That's the only one I'm playing in the NBA here tonight.
Okay. I mentioned, if you remember, when they went to All-Star break, I said the second half teams that might be a surprise to watch for me was this Minnesota team. And they're starting to heat it up a little. They're getting their players back finally. They got Randall back. They got the Rudy Gobert back. They're getting a lot of their key players. They mix well with Ant. So they won 5 straight games in a row. It's gonna be an interesting matchup tonight with this game. Teddy, any opinion on this matchup? I'm kind of staying chill on this game.
No opinion.
Nothing.
When are you guys going to learn? I'm not giving opinions on regular season NBA. It's not going to happen.
Okay. You have nothing in the NBA tonight?
I literally do not bet the NBA until playoffs. I don't give
I'm
out.
the same way in hockey. I don't play
exactly.
hockey to the playoffs.
I don't give one free pick. I don't give any system plays, no private plays, no NBA.
All right, you hear that, people?
Now, my guy Billy the Beard does NBA totals. If you want to check him out, hit us up and ask for Billy the Beard. He'll get you some NBA totals.
Okay. I got a play tonight. I'm jumping on in the NBA. I'm going to take the Rockets at home against the Suns. I think the Rockets are starting to play a little bit better. They can score a lot of points in that building. Obviously, Phoenix can too. They got a lot of weapons. But I'm liking the Rockets in this matchup. They won their last 3 straight games in a row. They're starting to come on. It's a team that heats up. It's crazy. They play so well at one point. You think, wow, this team's a bust-out team. They're looking to move and groove, and then they run into these little lulls. But now they're back in moving up the momentum a little bit. I think that this game's a perfect situation for Houston at home. I would bring this line. I would bring the line down to -4. It's 4.5. I would probably adjust it just to 4 because I got a feeling it might move up to 5 or 5.5 as the day progresses. But I like Houston at home tonight to get the job done in this game. I see them playing better right now. Phoenix, to me, they're playing up and down. They find ways to stay in certain games, but I think they're going to run into a buzzsaw here. And I think this game could be a very high-scoring game. Let me look at the total on this game.
227.5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised it's not even higher. But I'd probably stay away. That number doesn't appetize me at all. But I definitely like Houston in that game. And one other game I'm looking at, I think that the Atlanta Hawks will probably beat Charlotte pretty handily tonight. They're making Charlotte's an up-and-down team. You never know what you're going to get there. Atlanta, a little more consistent. I think if they're making 8.5 on Atlanta, there's a reason why they're making 8.5, and I could see them winning this game by double digits. So those are my 2 plays. I like Atlanta. These are, again, regular opinion plays, guys. Don't go crazy. Don't go out and start betting the ranch on the game. If you really want the best plays, I'm going to give you something to take advantage of a little later on in the show that I'm putting out today at a very low price that you could definitely take advantage of some games. But again, my 2 plays are Atlanta -8. I would get this line to -8. And as I said, I like Houston -4.
Is Trae Young playing tonight for Atlanta, or is he out?
Well, if they're 8.5, I would say he's.
I know he had an injury.
He's a game time decision again. That's the killer with the NBA.
That's the killer.
Yeah.
They have to.
They got to give you a time.
I think we talked about this before, but they have to set a deadline.
Many a times we talked.
12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, something to where it's not 6 o'clock and you don't know who's going to be starting or not.
That's
yet.
why if you had a guy in a bar like me, you would know who's starting in these games.
You need a guy in the bar and a guy in the doctor's office too.
Yep.
What else is going on, guys? What next week? Are you guys already looking at any long-range picks to win the national championship? Or are you guys just going to go with your daily routine? Are you putting out anything long-term?
I'm going to wait till the brackets come out. When the brackets come out on Sunday or Monday, then I'm going to make my decision. I'll put a couple futures in for this. I'll head over to High Rock.
I don't. What's your thinking? Who's coming into this tournament right now that you think has the edge at this point in time?
Well, based on what I've been saying, could you guess?
I'm sticking with the SEC.
I think
Duke.
I think Duke is absolutely coming into this tournament like nobody else.
You like
at this
Duke,
point in time.
TK likes the SEC.
I don't know if they're going to win it at the end.
Do they have bets that you can bet which division's going to, what conference is going to win?
Probably.
I'm sure they do.
Oh, you mean like which? I thought you meant which part of the bracket. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure they do. But
is there a team coming into this tournament? Think about it. Any hotter, any more powerful than Duke, who's been winning by double digits, won their 4 out of the last 5 games by 30 or more. We're down to North Carolina in the second half and just pulled away in the second half and beat them by 13 the other night in a rivalry game. I mean, they're just coming into this tournament like full throttle.
If I had to pick my top 3 winners right now for the college tournament, I would go Duke, Houston, and the Gators. I like
there
Houston.
You go. So
I've liked them all year long. St. John's could be an outsider, though. They're playing great basketball, too.
I told you. What did I tell you? Rick Pitino.
Did they take out Marquette
Coach
on
of the year?
overtime on Saturday? I think they took out Marquette.
Yeah.
Rick Pitino's doing insane things right now.
He can never leave out Michigan State. I mean, they always play hot in the tournament.
Tom Izzo, sure. He's always good. He's always good to bring a big-time ball club into those tournaments. It's going to be an interesting thing, but I got to say right now, Duke is the top of the notch.
Does that kid come back if they win the Final Four? Does he come back?
Yeah,
Or does
I
he
think
leave?
he said he made a comment.
I think his dad wanted him to stay
he did
one more year.
the one more year thing. His dad was in the stands, and he said
Right.
he's going to one more year. But yeah, so my pick right now is Houston. I can't find it in me to not bet Houston to win it all because of defense. I think that their defense is going to take them a long way. A lot of these teams, their offensive powerhouses, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, these are teams that are putting up 80, 90 points a game. Houston's a defensive team, and I think defense goes a long way in these long tournaments.
Yeah, but if you're playing against a team like Duke that can shoot from the out, it's going to be tough to defend them.
Yeah,
They're
it is.
a tough team, and
For sure.
Alabama's and the Auburns, when they get hot, they could beat teams like Houston.
I actually like Florida.
Gators.
Gators.
I was going to say, I actually
They're playing good ball.
I like They're so hot right now. I
How
like
about
them to
Kentucky as
win.
a sleeper even?
They're sleeper. I like Florida to win the SEC bracket here.
I said Wisconsin too a couple
Nah.
of weeks ago on the show.
Nah.
This is tournament time. These guys are going to step it up a little bit in tournament
They
time.
don't have the team to win it.
Well, you never know. These who's going to be the Cinderella story this year?
They're not going to beat the top.
We're going to
tier
have a
teams.
Cinderella team every year. We got
It
one
might
going
be
in.
St. John's.
Yeah, right.
But they're in the top 10, so
Well,
really,
I wonder what a seed St. John's will get. You think they'll be a 2 or 3 seed, maybe?
they got to be up there.
Probably a 3.
Yeah, because they're going to win the Big East.
And positioning
I would
matters
think.
too. Like we could look at this bracket when
Marquette.
it comes out on Sunday, and we could have completely different opinions, depending if two really good teams are in the same section. And
The Big East has got a decent. You got Creighton, you got Marquette. I mean, I don't think these are teams that are going to win at all, but these are teams that can be spoilers.
Yep.
Creighton, Marquette, St. John's. I don't know if there's really
and
anyone else in
listen,
there.
I mean, let's not discount UConn. They're not having
UConn, right.
They're not having the best year ever. They're
Yeah,
having
you
a
got
little bit
Dan
of a,
Hurley, man.
They're having a little bit of an off year. UConn could very easily win this Big East tournament. I think they're a great value to take as like a little dark horse in this Big East tournament. I think they're like +5 or 550, something like that, to win the Big East tournament. Obviously, the favorite's St. John's, but
Yeah.
when you're betting these big tournaments, guys, there's not a lot of
Well,
value.
I think anybody, like I'm agreeing with you there. I think anybody in the Big East could beat anyone on any given day.
Right.
The top tier, obviously.
And that's exactly why there's not a lot of value. Now, the only conference that I don't think any team has a chance, and I think it's one man's, is the ACC. I don't see any team beating Duke in the ACC tournament.
No, I don't think so. I mean, they'd have to have the worst game they've had, and the other team would have to play their A+ game.
Exactly. I mean, maybe Louisville has a shot.
But even the SEC, I mean, any of these teams,
Anybody's
Gators could win
tournament.
on any given day. Bama could beat anybody on any given day. Listen, Auburn could beat anyone in Tennessee. There's a lot of parity in the SEC. As good as the conference is, and it's dynamite, there's still a lot of parity there. Any of these teams can knock each other off.
I
But I don't
agree.
think they're going to play again. I don't know how the scheduling is going to come up.
You
But
think some of these teams in the SEC tournament, they lose on purpose, just get an extra week rest for the tournament if they're already in?
No.
They've done it before.
why?
They've done it in years past. What's his name? Kentucky lost out.
Eh, I don't think so. Do you?
You never know. Get an extra week
Why,
of
though?
rest. Get your players rested, man, for the tournament. You know
Yeah.
you're going in.
But
Get a
do
little
you,
rest.
do you want to go in? Do you want to go in on a down?
But here's my thing. They're already getting, so let's say they play their last game on Saturday.
You think Duke wants to go?
Of
get
course
beat?
not Duke, but
they're
I'm talking
already
some of these
getting-
other divisions.
They're already getting Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off, maybe Thursday, depending on where their positions are. I mean, it depends. I don't know if they really need that. Is an extra
I mean,
day-
I get what he's saying. The logic that they'd have more
Oh, yeah,
rest,
for
and
sure.
if they already got everything under their belt, basically.
They're already
But I don't
going
know if-
in.
I don't know if they're all really all under their belt because, I guess Duke would be the number one seed no matter what happens if they win or lose.
So if Duke came out and lost the first
But
round, they would
doesn't
still.
matter. They'd be the number
Yeah.
one seed. I mean,
I guess if you're number one seed, no matter what, but I mean, if you're playing for 1 versus 2 or 2 versus 3, then you still have something to play for.
I think the key, guys, is to look for these certain teams and watch the numbers on these certain teams and really see the value. Well, it's hard for you guys, per se, to really understand the true value of the numbers like we know because we look at it every single day, 7 days a week, no matter what the sport is, to try to come up with, obviously, numbers that we feel we have an edge with, TK especially. He's a numbers guy. I'm a numbers guy. Teddy does it in his, He uses that, and I'm sure he has other systems he's looking at. But a lot of these numbers on these games, they are overinflated or undervalued. So you got to really pay close attention. There's a lot of games you might want to just pass on because the numbers are just not right for you to bet on, right? Instead of chasing after them.
A really big one. I'm just going to real quick. This South Carolina Arkansas game is going on right now.
Oh boy.
Arkansas lost to South Carolina as a 1.5 point favorite 2 months, or I'm sorry, not even 2 months ago, like a couple weeks ago. And now today, Arkansas was favored by 4 after losing to them.
Because they're playing better now.
They're favored by
They're
4. They're playing. That's what I was going to say. So I looked at that game and I said, "Wow, that's a lot of respect for Arkansas." And I like the number just because of where it was at. If Arkansas was a 1-point dog, I would say I would stay away.
Patino, Calipari's done a fantastic job, obviously, with this Arkansas team. I mean, he's pulled them together recently. They're playing much better as a unit. They won 20 games this year. And South Carolina, I think they went on a losing streak. It was 13, 14 in a row.
Yeah, they were two teams heading in different directions.
That actually wasn't a big number on a game like that, if you think about it. If you're looking at the numbers on the game, that's what I'm trying to say. If this game was a regular season game, in one of those say it was in Arkansas, I think Arkansas would be about a 7.5 point favorite.
Well, they were in the last game they played. They were a 1.5 point favorite on the road. So I think
in the road, but I'm talking about in their building.
Yeah, in their building,
they'd be about 7.5 at least, 7.5 8 point favorite against South Carolina.
I think you add 4 for home court, so maybe 5.
Yeah,
that's something you got to watch. It's just not numbers. You got to watch. Yeah, you got to watch numbers. You got to watch line moves. If you're a serious bettor and you're not using a line service like Don Best and watching these lines move daily, I mean, you got to use that stuff. I mean, you got to take advantage of that as well. I'm sure you use Don Best. I don't know if Scott uses line services and whatnot, but you got to watch these line moves.
I'm always watching numbers.
Yeah, you got to watch these numbers.
I'm looking at all the onlines, offshores.
Yep, that's the only way to do it.
Just to see what directions, what's going on, if there's any movement. You got to. It's home. Listen, guys, for us, it's a business. This is what we do. We depend on this to make our living. So we want to be right more than we're wrong. Everyone rips our asses open because we put out stuff. Sometimes it doesn't win. Nobody takes it any harder than we do. Because listen, it affects our wallets at the end of the day.
Exactly, because we bet the games also. So 2 things in sports betting: if you're right 60% of the time, you're making money. So that means you're going to be wrong 40% of the time. It's like in baseball. If you're in baseball and you make contact and make hits 30% of the time, that means you're failing 70% of the time.
But you're great.
You're a great baseball player. You're in the Hall of Fame,
man.
right? So you got to understand, just like you missing.
Well, it's not. You made a great point, and it's not even that, but it's the money management behind it. Because if you're betting 60%. You're winning 60% and you're losing 40%, but you're doubling up on certain plays and, you're chasing after games. That 60-40 could be a losing prop because, you're not managing your money the right way to get the profit.
Let me ask you guys a question. Are there certain sports books that you look at as being like sharper sports books than other ones?
I can tell you my number one, Circa is the sharpest book offshore. Pinnacle, Sports 411. Those are the 2 sharpest ones, man. Those are the ones to look at.
So, guys, you heard that here first. Circa in the States, Pinnacle overseas. Those are 2 I looked at. Now, TK mentioned a third one that I've never really checked before.
What, Sports 411?
Sports 411?
That's bookmaker.eu.
Oh, it's Bookmaker? Okay.
Same thing.
Okay.
Not Bet 365?
Bet 365s. They're more sharper for hockey, hockey, soccer. Mm-hmm. They're big. They're big European companies, so they get a lot of soccer action. So.
All right. I think we touched base on everything, unless you guys want to add something before we go. We had a great show today. And
no golf picks this week, Teddy?
Thank you. You led right into it. So, guys.
We got a few minutes.
I've given you guys my golf picks the last 2 weeks on here. This week, if you want them, you got to go to my Instagram page. I'm going to be posting a package in about 2 to 3 hours from now with all the selections for the players.
It's going to be a good tournament, man.
It's one of the best.
Tiger's not in it this year, but
didn't he get injured or something? I heard
he ripped his Achilles. He's
done for a year.
He's done.
Yeah, poor guy.
I go with Rory McIlroy probably. I take Rory in that one.
Well, speaking of golf, I didn't know Brooks Koepka says he plans to fulfill his contract with LIV.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, but his contract is up in like a year.
Well, he plans to fulfill it.
They must have gave him the money.
The question is, what does he do after?
Right.
That's the big question. I don't think there was any doubt he was going to fulfill it, but what is he going to do when
he's going to go back to the PGA Tour?
Yeah.
I'm interested to see.
I think a lot of them are going to
see.
start coming
So
back
Tiger,
to the
they're
PGA.
saying he's not going to play until 2026.
Wait, so
he's gone
Scotty,
for a
you
year.
have a special offer that you're showing
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
audience
yeah. I was
also,
going to do
right?
that in a minute. Sure.
Okay.
Guys, listen, it's this time of the year, is serious business time, and I'm trying to keep the prices low and give you guys that added edge that I feel makes sense. But I've got 4 huge games going today. I call them inner circle selections. The criterias are higher, which makes the plays, I feel, stronger. And I'm doing 4 games today. I'm featuring the 2 best games in the NBA, which are OKC and Boston and the Minnesota-Denver game. And I'm wrapping it up with college basketball with Iowa and Ohio State and Kansas State and Baylor. If you want all 4 of these games, just tap the link below. If you go on my stories right now, just tap the link below or comment win, and you can get those 4 games for only $14. $14, guys. This is a huge value. Take advantage of it.
Scotty, you thought we were on Instagram for a
Right.
second. You forgot we were on YouTube.
Right. yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why I just said go to the Instagram. It'll be there.
Right, exactly. Go to the Instagram. You can go to my stories. Just tap the link if you're interested and take advantage of 4 huge games. All right, guys, great show today. I want everyone to find where you guys are, so I'm going to start off with Teddy. Teddy, where can the people find you out there in the social media world?
Yes, sir. You could go to www.thesportsprofits.com, Instagram at @the_profits_pick, no S after pick, youtube.com/thesportsprofits. If you're watching this show live and it's your first time on the channel, subscribe, like, all that good stuff.
Yes, do it.
And,
do it.
We're going to keep the good stuff coming to you guys.
All right, you heard it. And this guy's been in the
And
business.
next week's a big week because we got the whole shebang.
Well,
And we got MLB
He's only
starting.
going to give 1 pick, though.
No,
Yeah,
man, I gave
TK.
out 2, but I gave NBA and I gave NCAA basketball.
We have a
100 games.
Moving forward,
100 games.
we have a 4-play minimum for next week. Just to
I
let
had
you
a long.
know.
I had a long night last night.
4-play minimum.
He was at the bar watching all the players.
That was fun. It was good. It was a fun night last night.
All right, guys, listen, here he is, the man, the myth, TK. Where can they find you out there on social media? You got a lot of stuff going
Well,
on.
since I didn't give out a lot of free plays out here, I'm actually on that Kansas State Baylor game tonight. It's my huge play. It's a 4-star unit play. You go right to my website, tkwins.com. I get some top plays up there again. Going one in the NBA, one in college basketball here tonight. But you can also check me out on social media at TKWins. Put up daily stories there, some free plays on there as well.
All right, guys, check these 2 guys out. They're good at what they do. They put the time in, they put the effort in, and obviously they're looking to get you that winning edge. And we're not going to be right all the time, but, at the end of the day, it's consistency, and that's what brings it to the table. And, again, I'm Scott Matthews. I'm the host of this great show, Get the Edge. You can find the show on all podcast forums, obviously, Spotify, Apple, you name it, our YouTube channel, which Teddy just mentioned to you, Get the Edge. Give us a big thumbs up, a like, whatever you could do. We're going to be back here next week, and you could check me out on my official Instagram channel, which is SM Sports Picks. That's SM Sports Picks. But again, we're going to be going live next week. Check everything out. The show will be up on Spotify today, Apple. I guess it'll be up today, correct, Ben? Show will be up today on Spotify, Apple, and check it out on YouTube. We'll catch you back here next week, ready and big time ready for March Madness.